Hey y'all,
I'm Bucky,
I'm Brandon.
and welcome back to a new episode of Southern Chatter.
Woohoo, y'all. The last few weeks have been kind of cray-cray around here.
Yeah.
And just to start off, we do want to say thoughts and prayers to everybody who has been affected by the hurricanes recently. So Hurricane Helene, which we'll kind of get into a little bit on the podcast, was really devastating for our neighbors in Western North Carolina. We'll talk a little bit about how it impacted us, but y'all, nothing compared to what's happening in Western North Carolina. So we just wanted to start this off by saying that you can still help out if you want to. There's tons of organizations you can donate items or monetary donations to. One that we personally donated to back a few days ago is called Beloved Asheville. So they're an organization that's based in Asheville, and they're basically dedicating all of their efforts now to help out with people affected in that area by the hurricane. And then obviously there was Hurricane Milton, which cut across Florida this past week. It did some pretty devastating things there. So yeah, just thoughts and prayers to all the people who've been affected by the hurricanes. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's kind of what this episode is going to be. Obviously, we haven't posted since, I think our last video was right before the hurricane happened, or very, closely, I know it was after my birthday, but before Otto's birthday, and so all that happened around the same time. So we've kind of been absent since then, unless you follow us on our personal social medias, and you saw that, we were still active
out and about.
Yeah. But yeah, so I thought that this podcast, it would just be good to reflect on the last couple of weeks, what we've been up to, how we were directly affected, how, just what happened here. I know a lot of our viewers might not be from this area, and, obviously the coverage from everyone that was around here, that's all you saw. Mm-hmm. But, if you were from, the West Coast or something, I don't know that
you even know much about,
Right.
Honestly, I don't know.
And it was it's just a weird situation. But then also it affected us having Otto's birthday party. And I know that was one of the main topics we talked about in our last podcast was getting ready for Otto's birthday party. Obviously there was some delays in that, and we're going to talk about all that. And again, any of our issues that we had or how it affected us is nowhere near, do not take any of it as us complaining or being anywhere feeling any certain way. We know that we didn't have it as bad as other people. So us our little bit of complaining that we do, or what happened to us, is in no way, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Everybody has their own experience.
Yeah.
Just because we experienced it one way
and
they experienced it another way does not discount anything.
But it was rough. It was rough on us.
Yeah.
In different ways.
Yeah.
A lot was happening.
So I guess let's get into it. So,
but also,
okay,
a lot of, not only are we going to be talking about that, also good things happen. We finally did have Otto's birthday party. We'll talk about that. We've done a lot since then. I don't know what, but I'm sure we'll talk
done
about
stuff.
It. So we'll just start from the beginning. So
y'all, Hurricane Helene, she made landfall in the panhandle.
Can I
of
stop
Florida?
you before we get serious?
Absolutely.
Again? It is just hilarious. We are back in the sunroom, y'all, because we just put Otto down for bed. If you don't know who Otto is our son. Well, you never know who's just now starting to watch.
I know, but it's funny. In every episode, we have to tell our. Anyway, keep going. It's just funny.
But again, it's just funny because you can see our camera in the reflection.
Well, of course.
But anyway,
for the people who are watching, not for the people who are listening, obviously. True. If you're just listening.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Anyway, so Hurricane Helene made landfall, I think, overnight. Thursday. 2 Thursdays ago. So this would have been Thursday. I believe the date was September 26th.
The night of that.
I think, yeah. And so what happened was basically the storm came kind of directly through through the panhandle of Florida, and then through Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee. And basically what happened was the outer bands of the hurricane, which if you listen to stuff about hurricanes, you know that like sometimes like those are almost like the worst parts to be in, because that's where all the rain is basically just like dumped out of the hurricane, because like you kind of like the hurricane just kind of sits in an area in a way, and like you're in the part of it that has like most of the moisture. So anyway, what happened was it came through here. Like I said, we did not get the worst of it. To the west of us got the worst of it. The western North Carolina, like Tennessee, kind of around that area. But basically what happened here was Friday, September 27th in the morning, we woke up. It had rained a lot. The yard was kind of flooded. We just built a house, so our yard's kind of a mud pit anyway.
Yeah, I mean...
Nothing new. And then it was funny. It was about, about 8:30, 9 a.m. We were actually out on the front porch kind of just watching the wind. The wind was like whipping really fast.
No, it was earlier than that because we still hadn't got Otto out of bed yet. So I think it was like more around 8.
Oh, maybe it was.
Because Otto was still like in bed. I think he might have just woken up, but like was playing in his room.
Yeah.
Because y'all, for some, like he loves, and people think this is weird. This is a little off topic, but he will literally wake up from either nap or, in the morning, and he just like plays in his room.
Yeah.
So he's in a regular bed, so he'll just like get up and just play.
He'll take some toys in his bed. He'll play on the floor with his toys.
Like that's weird, but I feel like that's like normal. I don't know. But
and then he lets us know, like if he'll
start saying Dad.
We usually go get him like after a little while, right? But if he
it's 12 p.m. and he's still in
but like he'll 100% let us know, like if he wants out of his room, like he'll start saying our names or like kind of getting whiny or like even like
go to the door
and kind of beat on the door. Anyway,
so he was still in bed.
Okay,
so I think it was around more like 8.
Yeah, so we were on the front porch, just kind of watching things.
Well, I begged y'all, like Bear and Brandon, come out here.
So we did, and then we were standing there, and it was funny because I was actually filming a video.
Because you didn't go to work that day.
No, I didn't go to work that day. My office kind of shut down because like we weren't, people weren't sure about how the hurricane would be. There was like a group text among like my coworkers, and I was like, oh, well, this is kind of what I was doing here. And it was funny because like I literally recorded a video, I sent it to them, and then like 30 seconds later, we're on the front porch and we hear like a loud like popping bang.
It was crazy. It was so loud,
and our power was out.
Yeah,
because like I was telling people like, oh, we still have power, like whatever. And then, so we lost power Friday morning.
But the wind was wild.
It was crazy, y'all.
It was like, crazier than I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And
it like ripped some of the siding up on our house. Not like completely off the house, but kind of ripped it up, where it was kind of just like flapping in the wind.
But it was just like looking like watching the wind and those trees just
they were just like bending and sway. It was
back
crazy.
But yeah, so we heard a loud pop. At that time, we didn't know
what it was.
We thought, a transformer pop, or like
that's whatever. What we thought it was actually. Which it probably might have been. I don't know.
But we did notice though at that time that my parents who live, close to us, like
we can see their house from our house. Yeah.
That they still had power. So that was like weird. Like we're...
Yeah. So we're like, oh, well, at least they still have power. Like something must have happened like right here.
Yeah.
Right at our house. But then 30 minutes later they lost power.
Yeah. So then that's when the storm was like amping up.
Yeah.
So I think like the main part of the storm was getting here around 9 that morning. Yeah. And
at this point it was still raining. But not long after that it stopped raining, but the wind continued.
Yeah.
The rain was kind of on and off like that morning. Like it was like the most of the rain had already happened, I think, by that point.
Yeah. And it was just wild. From there on, that's when the wind got to like its peak. I think it was around like 10 a.m. that morning. And from there, we could just see on like Facebook, like people just talking about like losing power, trees down.
Yeah. Can't get to work, like roads closed.
And at that point, we didn't know like, obviously it was just hitting everybody. It was hitting Western North Carolina. It was hitting us. Like at that point, nothing was like everybody was just getting a lot of rain. So then we were like, okay, well, Otto's birthday party is supposed to be on Saturday.
It was the next day.
And we were like, I don't know if we're going to get power. Like we're supposed to pick up his cake today. Should we still go pick up the cake? I guess we need to. Like, it's like a 15-minute drive. You know, they might not have power either to keep the cake. And she has a wedding the next day, so that she doesn't have room. Like, we have to go get the cake, and we'll just make do. Like, we'll just figure it out. Because we're still thinking, oh, okay, like, it's not too crazy. We'll get power back. We didn't know the extent of it. We head out to go get the cake, and that's when we were like, oh,
there were trees. Trees.
This is going to be a little bit worse than what we initially thought.
Like, at this point, we're like, ooh, like, it might not be, like, the party tomorrow may not be feasible because we don't know, like, and it was also because that morning when we lost power, obviously we called to, like, report that we had the power outage, and, like, at this point,
it was
there was no, it was just like a busy signal. I'm assuming because the power company where we were calling did not have power. But so, like, we tried for, like, I mean, like, a couple hours to get through to report that we didn't have power. But yeah, we went to get the cake, which, y'all, by the way, shout out to the person who made the cake. Her name is Edwina. She lives in, like, Lincoln County, North Carolina, and y'all,
it was awesome. Like,
when I say that Otto's, it was beyond expectation. Like, we sent her an example of kind of what we wanted. He had a Sesame Street themed birthday party, so his cake was, like, Cookie Monster on the bottom, Elmo on top, and then some fun little, like, candy, and, like, then it basically was, like, a replication of the Sesame Street sign, but it had, like, a little 2 on it, and then it said Otto. It was really
cute. Good. Maybe at some point, like, after this video, I'll, like, post another video, like, showing some of his birthday. I didn't get, honestly, much video footage of his birthday party. Yeah. But a lot of pictures, and I don't know.
It was so good.
That way y'all can kind of see a little bit of that.
But we went to put the cake up.
Yeah, and we cannot even get shit through.
And at this point, nobody had power. So
I think just driving there, like, power lines in the road, we're like, do we drive over it? Like,
we drove under. There were several instances of, like, a tree that was, like, had fallen,
barely hanging against,
but the power lines were still suspended. So, like, the tree was just laying on the power lines, and we were like, it was kind of freaky driving under it.
Like, low to us.
Honestly, we shouldn't have done that, and we do not encourage that.
Well, no.
But we had to pick up this cake. So we figured out, like, the way that we would typically go there.
The Waze already was telling us, like, don't go that way.
Yeah.
It was wild. And
people's and y'all, being out in the country, everybody has a trampoline. And y'all, when we say there were so many trampolines that had just blown across yards and were, like, all bent to hell. It was like,
it was crazy.
Yeah. Weird.
But anyways, drove over power lines, went under them, and finally got to the cake.
And so then we were like, well, what do we do with the cake now? Because at this point, we were kind of, like, already like, ooh, party's probably not happening tomorrow.
I think I still had a little glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
But after seeing
once we fired up social media,
that's when it was like...
it was like people were saying, like, there were already people that were like, the power company is telling us, like, 4 to 7 days for power. We were like, oh my God, like, there's no way, you know.
A lot of times when people say that, though,
I know,
you don't. They just give, like, worst case scenario. It's like, oh, that won't happen. That won't be us.
Yeah.
But we did. My parents, obviously, they lost power, but they have a deep freezer, and the cake was pretty tall, and it was in, like, a tall box, and we were like, we don't want to squish it. Like, we'll put it in the deep freezer. They don't have power, but the deep freezer should keep it, like, cold until the power comes back on. That's just, like, the best case scenario. So we did that, left it there, still thinking, you know, it won't freeze it all the way because we still might need it for this weekend. Because we were like, even if it's not Saturday, to be sure, the power will be back on Sunday. We'll just move it to Sunday. No big deal. Well, y'all.
It did not.
So that night, everything is fine. The temperature isn't that, like, hot. Like, the temperature in the house and everything, it was pretty...
we spent the night in the house a few nights without power. And
I think that is when we do recognize, though, once we start seeing social media, that, like, the western part of our county, plus, like, going into the mountains, they were hit
way
pretty
worse.
hard.
Yeah.
Like, obviously,
Well, the flooding.
the valleys and stuff, like
Yeah.
they just, that much rain.
Because
they're
where
not used
we
to it.
are, there's not a huge flood risk.
Yeah.
But, you know, obviously in the mountains, there's tons of creeks, rivers.
They just don't get rain like that.
Yeah, and they're not prone to getting, you know, 20, 30 inches of rain
That quickly,
like at a time.
And
it's just so sad, y'all. Like, people's whole houses washed away. I mean, there's people who are so sadly, like, still not even accounted for that, you know, may or may not ever be found because, you know, they were washed away in the flood. And it's just really sad. So I don't really want to talk about, like, that part of it too much. But anyway, this
like,
is
more
total
like our
devastation.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting
I know.
off of,
But so once we started seeing that, you know, then it was like, okay. And, you know, we are Western North Carolina, but not really in, like, the mountainous area. And so we happen to be on the same electric company that, like, a couple of places like the Lake Lure and the Chimney Rock area of North Carolina that got hit really hard.
they're the same company.
Basically, towns, roads completely washed away. They're on the same electric company as us. And so from that point, we were like, once we saw what had kind of happened there, we were like, okay, well, you know, we're going to be probably lower priority, as we 100% should have been, because we did not have the, you know, the total damage and devastation like was up there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so then we postponed the party to Sunday, and then finally, like...
Well, what was also weird, like, rewinding, it was crazy because my parents ended up getting their power back that Friday night.
Yeah,
late
like
that
early
night.
Saturday morning, kind of.
I think it was like late Friday, maybe early Saturday. I don't know what exact time.
Yeah, I don't think they know either.
But we didn't. So even though...
Yeah.
We just knew, obviously, when that happened, there was more issues. And what we forgot to tell you is when we went out and looked and got the cake, there was a tree, like, right in front of our house.
Yeah.
Like, that goes across the road. A tree had fallen over on the power line, and it was just hanging by the power line.
Yeah.
And so we were like, oh, okay, that's why it didn't affect Mom and Dad, which are right beside us a little bit down the road, because it was past their... You know, it was only affecting those past them.
Yeah. And what's kind of funny is when we realized on Friday that's what the case was.
You got to think that's only
like,
affecting a limited number of houses past, because we are on a dead end road, and then we're even on a more dead end road, off the dead end road.
And so once we knew that we had lost power, like, before his parents, we were kind of like I actually said out loud, I was like, oh, this is going to suck, because I feel like what's going to happen is, like, the damage that caused our power outage is causing outage for, like, only 7 or 8 houses, which means we're definitely going to be, you know, lower on the totem pole in terms of, like, restoring, right? Because they're going to, which makes sense.
Yeah.
His parents were part of a bigger one that was like 180 or 200 people or something.
Yeah. So they got it back quickly.
Yeah.
And we made the most of it.
Yeah.
You know, we had auto. It was, like, fun. We were reading in the dark. If you follow me on social media, you saw, like, the video of me, like, reading to him. It was like fun. It was
it wasn't. Yeah, I mean, we made the best of it, and
you know, using flashlights. We did stay gone, like, a lot of the day. Like, once it was
like
more
the day on
safe.
Saturday, I don't even remember what we did on Saturday.
What did we do on Saturday?
When we finally realized we could kind of, like, get out, we went to the fair.
Yep, that evening.
Yeah.
So, because it was his actual birthday on that Saturday. And y'all,
his actual birthday was Friday.
Oh, his actual birthday party was supposed to be that day. Yeah. That's right.
His actual birthday was the day that the hurricane actually hit us.
Yeah. And I think for me, even though this is so dumb, and I was just so emotional,
and
because
he's like only 2.
There was so much build up to his party.
Yeah.
Like, I was doing so much that week before, like, getting things ready.
I mean, we were to the point where we lost power, and we were after we lost power, we were still, like, sweeping them off on the floors, thinking, like, people are coming.
Yeah, I had done so much prior to all this, and then, like, him not like, I was even upset, like, him not going, because on Friday, he was supposed to have his, like, preschool birthday party there, to where, like, we send, like, his snacks and his birthday cakes and stuff, and he didn't have that, and I was, like, so upset about that, and I was like, his second birthday, he was, like, ruined, and he did not care, like, he was just having a blast. So then, anyways, that weekend, I was like, okay, we need to, like, do stuff fun for him, like, we need to get him out, and, you know, we can't just be in the house. And so we did go to the fair, the Cleveland County Fair, that Saturday. Once we found out it was open, and it was crazy. It was so crowded. You're on this real estate. Hello. I apologize. That was obviously it wasn't a long call for y'all, but that was a work call that happened and took entirely longer than I expected. And honestly, I forgot where we were. But I know that we were talking something about...
We had been to the fair.
The fair was great. Then we'll just keep going from the fair. The fair was great. We got Otto out of the house. I felt like we were doing something for his, like, birthday weekend, to where I didn't feel like we ruined his birthday. Then Sunday, y'all, we still didn't have power. My parents did, but we were still staying at our house. So we stayed here Friday night, Saturday night. And then Sunday, we decided to go up to where Brendan's parents were, just to see them, because they were supposed to come down for Otto's birthday to see him, obviously, and for his party. And they hadn't seen him for his birthday. So we were like, let's go up and see them. And so we did that and went to like a pumpkin patchy fall,
like a farm where they have like a corn maze and bounce houses and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and Otto had the best time.
Yeah,
it was so much fun. I just love that. Is like one of my favorite things about fall is like the corn mazes.
There's always lots of activities
and
festivals
every weekend.
Yeah,
every weekend. There's always something to do. And Otto it just had so much for him to do there, and it was just so much fun.
And he had such a good time. And then we went back to my parents.
But y'all, Otto
took a nap, woke up, was in a horrible, terrible, very bad mood. We felt of him. He felt hot. Come to find out,
y'all, just when things, fever.
It was a whole thing. So then Sunday we get back home. We ended up going over to his parents to stay for Sunday night, because we were like, now we have a kid who has a fever. He's sick. You know, we don't want him sleeping in a house where like there's no power, and also because we had no power, we couldn't watch him on the monitor like we're used to.
That was my main thing. Like, if he's sick, I want to be able to watch him throughout the night. Like, Otto has not been sick much in his life. I mean, he's been sick maybe a handful of times.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 times maybe.
Yeah, and so
it was kind of freaky.
For us, we were just like a no-brainer. We're not staying at the house again tonight.
He felt so hot. So
we're going to my parents.
He needs to be cool, you know, the whole 9 yards. So then we go over there. We stay Sunday night. Monday morning, we wake up. Obviously, we still had no power. We take him to urgent care, and then in urgent care, he does have a fever. You know, they do the usual like, just give him Motrin or ibuprofen, Tylenol kind of thing, you know, back and forth. So kind of the usual thing. And then they say, you know, well, it doesn't look like he has strep. It doesn't look like he has an ear infection. He probably just has a virus. And they were like, well, do you want us to test him? And we were like, well, you know.
What is that?
With what that involves, that's just going to make him really upset, you know. He's already feeling like crap, so we're like, no, like, we'll just go back home, cool, whatever. So we just kind of spend the rest of the day like chilling. I actually did on Monday, like, finally empty out like our fridge and our freezer. We basically lost everything we had in there, which, you know, whatever, no big deal compared to what other people, you know, lost. And then Tuesday,
you go to work. That's the first day you go back to work.
I went back to work, so I was in the office. He was doing medicine, the usual regimen on Tuesday.
And he seemed fine. Like, we were just hanging out during the day. Like, he was getting his medicine. I did, like...
and we had canceled the party for Sunday, obviously. We didn't have a party on Sunday.
Yeah, because if we didn't have power, we didn't want to do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
because we were having a bounce house, and
yeah.
obviously,
well, we couldn't have a bounce house. People couldn't flush our toilets.
Yeah.
Whole 9 yards.
So yeah, Tuesday it was fine. He was very just more cuddly and not but he was acting more normal. Like he was seemed fine. We were watching more TV than normal, but still playing and stuff. And we were doing medicine every 6 hours. And y'all, Brandon gets home from work at 5:30 or something.
Yeah.
And Otto and me were just in here. Then Brandon comes in and Otto starts acting
Yeah, I was like, what's wrong with Otto? He's not right. Something ain't right.
Yeah. Just kind of a drunky.
He was lethargic. He was kind of
just out
slurring,
of it.
Sort of. Anyway.
We check his temperature.
Yeah.
And y'all, it ends up saying 106. It goes up and says 107 at some point.
Yeah,
we're this cannot be right.
We were like, what the heck is going on?
We start freaking out a little bit.
So we pile up in the car and we go to the ER, which
and at this
was
time,
a
y'all,
whole experience.
we're checking ourselves too. So it's not the thermometer is just
it was saying 98 for us, and then it was when we put it on him, it was 105, 106, 107. So we were freaking out, right? That's okay, everything you read says that's the danger zone for kids, especially a 2-year-old. So we pile up, we go to the ER. That's a whole experience.
My dad was here for some reason. Remember, we just saw my dad. We were we gotta go.
It was.
We were over there.
We took him over there because that's where the thermometer was. The thermometer wasn't here.
That's right.
It was at their house because we had taken it over there the night before.
Yes.
So we go to the ER, which was a whole thing. We get there. We check in. They call us back.
No, Brandon was driving crazy to get
to the ER. Yeah, but of course I got behind slow people every turn of the way. It was crazy. Just when you need to get somewhere fast, that's when you always get behind my slow poke. Mm-hmm. But we get there. They checked his temperature rectally because that's the most for young kids. That's the most accurate. And it was I think it was 104.8. So they immediately kind of gave him a huge dose of Tylenol, and then we went and sat back in the waiting room, and we were just kind of sitting there for a while.
For 2 hours, y'all.
He was hot. He was okay. He was watching he was watching our phones. He was being a good boy though, all things considered.
I mean,
we had been there for over 2 hours, and finally we were just kind of okay. Well, we had never really even been told okay, what's happening next.
Yeah.
So go up to the lady.
Also bedtime too.
Yeah.
It was it's already been 2 hours. There's people that we saw. And what they also said was since he's so young and he has such a high temperature, they might take him back earlier, before other people.
Yeah.
But then that wasn't happening. It didn't happen. I mean, 2 hours in, we were still there, and there was so many people that were still there and hadn't been called back when we got there.
Yeah.
So we were what? How long are we going to be here? It's almost 8 o'clock. It's his bedtime. He is so tired. He is what's the outcome here? So Brandon goes back up and he's I'll just ask what the plan is here. And he goes and talks to this nurse for quite a while.
Nurse.
She is a nurse.
No.
They gave her medicine.
I didn't talk to her first.
Oh, okay.
I talked to a patient services person who was well, we're waiting on you to have a room. And I was what do you mean have a room? I'm thinking I don't know what that, nobody's told us what that means exactly.
Yeah.
So she was well, there's 5 or 6 people still ahead of you. I was okay. So then she was let me just let you talk to the nurse. And I was okay, that sounds great. So when she's done seeing a person in the little triage area, I go up to her and I'm can you just explain to me what's happening? What are we waiting for? And she was basically you're waiting for a room, which means kind of urgent care. You're going to go back and see the doctor. And we were okay, well, we had him at urgent care yesterday. Is that really it? And she's yeah, they're just gonna probably assess him, maybe test him for a couple things, but at the end of the day, they're probably gonna send you home, because she was even if, let's say the doctor was yeah, his fever's really high, let's keep him and monitor him. Where we had gone, which was the hospital in Lincolnton, they don't even admit pediatrics. So if the doctor had said, yeah, he should be monitored, we would have had to pile back in the car and drive all the way to Charlotte, where they do admit pediatrics. So we were like, okay, well, that's kind of weird. So basically what happened was the emergency room for us was just, or at least in our experience, was just like a glorified urgent care with a really, really long wait. Yeah. Because there was nothing traumatic happening, right? Like, he was just kind of sick. He had the high fever, which they were monitoring. And then she kind of, you know, was really, really sweet, very nice. But basically was like, I can't really tell you what to do, but like, she was like, as a mom, you know, I would say the doctor's going to tell you to administer the ibuprofen and the Tylenol every 3 hours to switch between them. And then she gave us updated dosage for his weight so that we actually ended up being able to give him more of each medicine based on his weight compared to what it says on the bottle. And so, yeah, so we ended up leaving.
After a little over 2 hours.
Yeah, then on Wednesday, was it Wednesday?
Yeah, so the next day we were like, okay, well...
leaving there, you scheduled the appointment.
I said...
Yeah.
I'm going to get him his regular doctor in Charlotte.
Which I think is what the nurse had kind of said. Like,
we're like going to go and see him.
Yeah.
Or it's a her, but the only person we could see that next day was another guy that we'd seen at his pediatrician before. And I was like, we are just going to go there that next day and see him. Well, Otto wakes up and he still has his fever is like elevated a little bit. We're doing the updated dosage every 3 hours. And Otto's just kind of getting back to normal, y'all. He's playing more, and sure enough, we get to the doctor. The doctor's appointment was at like 3 or 2:50 in the afternoon. I think.
Because I met y'all there. I left the office and met y'all there.
And it was like Otto was in the doctor's office, like playing,
having a great
running
mood.
around,
in a great mood.
The doctor comes in. He sees him like playing. He's talking to Otto. Otto's just having a great time. They do his temperature there. Yeah. And Otto, obviously...
just so you know, we were actually in the ER last night, and he did have a 104.8 temperature.
Yeah. So. But we've also, we're like, he's doing the Tylenol and Motrin back, like... So his temperature was like 98 something there. But that was with medicine. And he was like... It's looking good. Like, you know, there's not much... You know,
kind of told us the same thing.
Y'all did the right thing. Like, that
he kind of said there's no
point
in us testing him because, like, he was like,
we didn't really get any answers. He was like, obviously, if it goes on like longer than like 10 days, it could be like a secondary bacterial infection or something. That maybe that would be something that we need to look at.
Test for or something.
But as of now, like he sees, just keep doing this
just
and
then
try to keep scattering out the dosages as you go.
But neither of us ever got sick. Nobody else ever got sick, so like whatever it was, I mean, we still don't really know.
But y'all, the light that Wednesday, so Otto was feeling better, and I get a text from my mom that there is power line people on our road. Yeah. So that is the first time we'd seen the sight of any power people near our road. So we're heading back to Charlotte, or heading back from Charlotte from the doctor's appointment, and I'm like, oh, we're getting power tonight. We're getting power tonight. I was so excited. We get back to the house, and sure enough, the power people are still here. They're coming down the road. I see them. The tree had been removed from that power line right outside the house. I was like, okay, this is really going to happen tonight. It's Wednesday. We've been without power since early Friday morning. We might be getting power back tonight. And they were here, I mean, I guess they were here several hours because it was by the time we left Charlotte, Mom texted me, and then I got back, and then I texted Brandon that they were actually here, and it was probably 6 or 7 that night that we actually got power back. Or maybe it was
a little later because, I would say 7-ish.
And sure enough, y'all, they were out here, they flipped a switch or something, and the power came back on. So, like, Wednesday night, we got power. So, we were without power all day Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
we were
Monday,
almost
Tuesday.
6 full days.
Almost
like 6 days.
Yeah. Which was wild. But it was just, like, just everything that had happened. Being without power with a sick kid that has, like, 105 temperature, or 104 temperature, that you were just, like, worried about not being in your house. Yes, we were fortunate that my parents had power, and I was very, very, very grateful for that. But y'all, it just still wasn't the same. You know what I mean? It was still, it was just a rough, like scary couple of days. And just being uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just...
And also just like knowing, like, because by this point, you know, obviously like a couple days after the hurricane, you start to realize like what had happened in the western part of the state, and it was like just horrible. It's like, it's also just like kind of a heavy time, I guess, like a heavy.
And what was great at the first was seeing social media and how positive it was. Everybody reaching out to help. Everybody that was like telling people where people were stranded, like giving people coordinates of people that had helicopters, people that just could go and help immediately. And the first couple of days, it was like so nice. It was so good just seeing all the amazing help and camaraderie and just humanity that was happening on social media. And then I guess people just started getting more bored that didn't have power, and like the conspiracy theories and everything else just started trickling in.
Well, everybody started making everything political,
and more politics came into it, and it was just like, and that was about this time too, like the middle of that next week and stuff. And it was just like social media, and honestly,
like,
since
like,
then it's been.
Like,
we were doing so good. People have
lost their whole life.
Like, why are we making things up? Why are we sharing fake images?
So dumb.
There's already awful enough images and stuff, and then people are sharing these AI images, and people think it's real. Y'all, I don't know how people think these AI images are real. I honestly don't understand how you can look at this picture.
You can just tell. It's like, how can you not?
Do you want to know why people think it's real? Because half these people that think they're real are the same people that go and like they filter their picture so much to where they look like a cartoon. You know what I mean?
I know. I mean, I know what we're talking about.
It's those people. It's those types of people. But anyways, I hate it though. I hate it. And I even I never post anything like political or anything on Facebook. What I posted wasn't political. It was just quit sharing fake information.
Like vet your information before you share it.
Just stop. Like, there's no point in it. But it was crazy. I guess, since we are like right on the outskirts of where a lot of we're 30, 40 miles from like Chimney Rock and stuff, like Lake Lure, where a lot of that awfulness was happening. Like the helicopters and just like the little planes and stuff that we've seen those couple of days just like over our house. It was wild. Every day we were just seeing helicopters go back and forth, which was awesome to see. In the grand scheme, it was awesome to see just the support and stuff that was going up there to help. But yeah, so that was just a wild week.
But then on a happy note,
what?
We had Otto's birthday party
that next weekend.
The next Sunday, and it was a blast, y'all. It was so fun. We had a bounce house. We had that amazing cake. Thankfully, y'all,
it still tasted good.
The cake
frozen.
Made it in the freezer. We just set it out, let it thaw out, and y'all, it was still very delicious.
Yeah,
it was. Everybody was raving about the cake. So I cannot say enough good things about her and the cake, the person who made the cake.
That's great for it to be so pretty.
If you're in our area, for those of you who listen or watch who are like near us, and you need a cake for like a fun festivity, message us. I'll give you her information.
I think we're going to use her. Good. I think we're just going to have a Halloween cake made just for the fun of it.
Yeah,
just
for like a little party or something.
What she does.
We might, because y'all, she's so good. Anyways,
so it's hard to find somebody that can like decorate and make a pretty cake, and also it tastes good.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It was very good. I mean, it was a basic cake.
Confetti.
It was just funfetti with like cream cheese icing. But it was delicious.
Did it taste like a box cake?
No.
See, that's the thing though. That's where
But y'all, so we had the cake, we had the bounce house. Elmo and Cookie Monster made a special appearance. Yes. We had bought these costumes. Me and Bucky were going to wear them and come out as Elmo and Cookie Monster and praise God. Bucky's sisters agreed to do it, so we didn't have to because those costumes, when I say it is like when you put that costume on your body, it is like you've entered the pits of hell. Mm-hmm. They are so hot. I don't know how mascots are like the people. You know who I really don't understand? The people who wear those like furry suits, No, and flip.
Yeah, and do like the tricks and stuff.
Well, that's crazy, but I'm talking about at Disney World.
Oh.
Y'all, how are you...
Well,
let's just picture this.
I think they have like times and they go back and say take their heads off. And...
I mean, but still. Like, it is literally early August in Orlando. The temperature is 102 degrees. It is like almost 100% humidity. And you're walking around that park taking pictures with awful little toddlers.
No.
Are you kidding me?
But
that is a personal hell.
Back to his birthday party. And also, I don't know why the buyer's agent hasn't texted me back. But anyways, I'm not going to worry about it. His birthday, that morning, we got everything ready.
Yeah.
Brendan's parents came into town that weekend. So everybody was here. It was like great.
It was nice. They watched Otto. We got to go do a fun escape room with some friends.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, we got to hang out with friends while my parents watched Otto. And it was fun.
Y'all, Otto had the best time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
he was living his best life.
He loved the bounce house. He loved having so many people here to play with because we had
a
lot of friends that brought friends.
He loves attention.
We have a lot of friends that brought kids. And there was just so many people here, and he just ate it up. He loved it. Half the party was inside, half of it was outside. People just came in and out, and just went as they pleased. And then, when my sisters dressed up as Elmo and Cookie Monster, they came out right before we were doing the cake, and it was so sweet. Like, he literally...
ran up to them and hugged them.
Thinking that they were
oh my god,
the
he was
real
so excited.
Elmo and Cookie Monster.
Now, the one thing that we could have done is we could have workshopped their voices a little bit better. Mm-hmm. But to be fair, they did find out they were doing it 30 minutes before they actually did it.
Yeah.
But the voices were a little suspicious.
Yeah.
But, the Cookie Elmo, his sister Tiffany, who was the Elmo, it was literally just her voice, just a little bit higher. Mm-hmm. But it was so funny. He loved it. Everybody loved it. All the kids loved
hugs. Because we didn't know if he would be kind of scared. He's never been.
We were scared that either him or
another
kid would be scared of them. Because some kids are scared of the big furry monster. I don't know, because they are kind of freaky. And let's be honest, those heads are a little interesting.
And but y'all, he loved it. And it's funny because now he loved it so much and thinks they're the real Elmo and Cookie Monster. That we were going to be Elmo and Cookie Monster for Halloween, and he was going to do
Oscar the Grouch.
Yeah. But now, since he thinks that those are the real Elmo and Cookie Monster
we don't want to
costumes, we don't want to ruin the illusion or the magic of that. So, we're never going to show him those.
No.
We're never going to show him that. Yeah.
Anyway, we haven't got his Halloween costume yet, but...
So now we got to figure that out. But, yeah, other than that, the birthday party was great.
But I will say this, one thing about the birthday party is that...
People love to eat. Oh,
yeah, people do love to eat. People do like to eat.
You know what? It is just crazy, though. Just I just feel usually, in Charlotte and stuff, I feel the food never gets gone. But, out here, people just eat.
Well, what's the difference?
Wait, I
don't want to say it. Do you want me to say it, or are you going to say it?
Your family?
My family? The only family that was here for me were my mom and dad.
Hey, whose fault's that?
I'm just saying. If you want to talk about who's eating all the food.
No, I just was...
Wow.
I was just saying, it's just fun. People...
people throw down.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say... Do you want to incorrectly guess what I was going to say again?
The slushy machine was a hit.
No, but it was a hit. We made some frozen mimosa vibes. It was really good. No, what I was going to say is that Otto is, and I think most 2-year-olds probably are, a little too young to really understand the concept of presents and opening presents.
Oh, yeah.
And y'all.
Just people wanting him to open.
Grandmas and aunts want to see kids open presents. Was
it really anybody besides your mom?
I think both moms.
My mom was over there painting faces. I don't think she...
No, I think so. Because she wanted to see him open her present. For sure. And There was somebody else.
I'm just saying, if we want to be real about my family eating, I think we need to be real about some other things.
Like what? Oh, that my mom wanted to see her grandchild open presents and be happy and joyful.
We go. Here we go.
That's different than stuffing your face with pizza. Anyway.
Are you just doing that because your mom watches and you're trying to look like such a...
No, I'll say it. Yes, it's yes. She wants to see him open presents, and he's not into it. So it's like we spent an hour out there trying to force him to be interested in opening presents. When like every toy you bring out is like he wants to play with it immediately. He wants to open it. He's like open, 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 and it's like oh my god, like
he's just still too young.
Yeah, that to say that he's too young to open presents, and I think most 2-year-olds are. And so like that whole part of the party was like.
It was more stressful for you.
It was a lot.
And,
yeah.
And somehow, all of a sudden, we had gotten Yellow Jackets out there.
Yeah.
And me and Otto were outside playing. Like,
I think the bounce house
day.
people brought them with them. Because I have not, you know what is true? I have not seen one single Yellow Jacket since the bounce house left. Either.
That's why I don't understand.
I think they're in the bounce house.
Then
and when they blow it up, they can somehow get in and out.
I don't know. It was wild, though.
It was freaky.
And then I was like out there, like killing them.
Literally swatting them like crazy.
It was just chaotic. But
we had a blast. Everybody had a blast. It was a great time.
It was. It couldn't have gone any better.
No.
Like,
yeah,
everything happened how it was meant to happen.
It was so
and
fun.
It was just the best. Otto, like, he literally loves the bounce house. He woke up the next day upset that the bounce house wasn't there.
Yeah. He was like, bounce house? Bounce house? He still kind of says it sometimes.
Mm-hmm. But then we have, like, all of his presents. We've, like... Or what I've done is like split up like the days like after and like him playing with a little bit of them like things, each day. Yeah. That way there's like new stuff spread out over the couple of days. But now we're through everything. And now y'all, it is getting cold.
I know, I'm so excited, y'all. This week, middle of the week, looks like it's going to be chilly. I'm so excited.
It was 40 something or like low 50s the other day when I took him to pre-K. And he was still in shorts and a t-shirt, and all the other kids.
And you say every other
kids had like a jacket or long sleeves, and I was like, they are gonna think that I'm an awful parent. But he's
hot-natured, just like us, or just like me.
And I was like, they're gonna be inside all day. He's not gonna want to be like in pants.
But it was the day they went to the pumpkin patch, wasn't it?
I don't know that they went.
Well, why do we have to spend $5?
I think it might be this week. But anyways,
y'all, that's a whole other thing with like little preschool thing. There's always something going on.
Oh, like a theme.
And he only goes 2 days a week.
Yeah, there's always a thing.
And there's always something. There's always a little outfit you have to buy.
Or like a little thing. Bring.
I mean, it is like... But he did have class photos. I cannot wait to see his school photo.
They hadn't said anything.
Well, they had them, didn't they?
I assume. I haven't heard anything. I guess.
Maybe we should message and ask, like, when will we get those? Anyway, y'all.
But yeah,
is that all?
I mean, since then, what else have we done? Things have kind of gotten back to normal.
This past weekend we went to...
the Carolina Classic Fair.
Yes.
What else were you going to say?
I was going to say Lake Hickory Haunts, but that too.
Oh my gosh. So we do have a video coming out of the Carolina Classic Fair. I did like vlog a little bit, so I'll post that here soon on this channel. So you'll see a little bit of that. But y'all, Lake Hickory Haunts... It was so good. It is in Hickory, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And what they say, it's the biggest...
What I heard, now I heard an employee say this, so it could be completely made up. But on our way out, I heard an employee say, it is the top rated, privately owned haunted attraction in America. That's what he said. Now, I cannot be held accountable for that.
I believe it, because when you walked in, the... effects, the design, the lights.
There was a girl eating her leg.
Well, that was in one of the haunted houses.
But it was like...
But like when you walk in, it's like a town. Like you walk in and it's like a little town. You
like
feel
a little village.
It's almost like you walked into Halloween Town, like the movie. Yeah. And like they have like creatures walking around, but they're not really scary or trying to scare you. And it's called the
Midway Mayhem or something.
Or they have like concession stands.
Little games you can play.
Little games and
like
escape room.
You know, the scary people walking around.
But they're not like scaring, like not really.
No,
like
they don't scare you. They do sneak up on you and stuff.
A little bit.
And y'all, we went VIP, so we had access to the VIP lounge, which meant we got a bottle of water, a snack, some candy, and we got a private place to sit, which was nice. And then, y'all, the actual haunted house.
It was probably the scariest haunted house.
Yeah,
that I've
it
ever
was.
been
So
in.
it's 13 different
Like little
houses,
themed.
but you do it all in like a one big long swoop kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's built around an actual it's near Lake Hickory, which is near Hickory, North Carolina, but there's like a pond in the middle, and it's all kind of built around that. And y'all, it was so good. Like, it started off in like something called the Nightmare Factory, which is like a hospital. Then it went into like a doll theme.
I don't remember the exact. I don't think I've screamed and thought I was going to have a heart attack as much as I did there.
It was so fun, y'all. And the thing I would say about it is, if you are nearby, if you're in North Carolina, like, you should go to the Lake Hickory Haunts. It
if
is
you're
so
within
good.
at least like 3 hours.
Yeah. It is like the production value is like so like top tier.
And
like, there's just one, like, I don't want to give, well, I mean, you can look up all the themes. They're online, so I'm not giving anything away, but like, there's this one like haunted house you go through that's called Nature's Revenge, and it's like
this one's not really scary.
It's not as scary.
But it's like,
although there was that one. It was the one
Yeah.
with the person flying down from the ceiling.
Yeah. You're right.
But you enter this like cabin, and it's like the cabin is like infested with like plants and
I
stuff.
think it's a greenhouse.
No, you enter the cabin first, and there's a
Okay.
man in there
Saying
who's
find
like
his
begging
wife.
you to find his wife, that
Yeah.
the plants have got her or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
So then you go through these greenhouses, and y'all, these plants are like moving.
like off of a movie.
The production value is like so.
You just wanted to
good.
stop and just look at
Yeah,
like.
you really did. Like, I wanted to just take it in.
But
it
you
was
also
so
didn't know
cool.
somebody was about to jump out behind it.
Yeah.
I was telling Brandon, it's like I almost want to go again and just like
Take
be
your
able
time.
to like, okay, I know it's scary. I know kind of
Yeah.
what's about to happen, so I can kind of
Or
breathe
even
a little
like
bit.
seeing it during the day, like that one.
Yeah, but
Oh my god, y'all! I just hurt my toenail so bad.
oh, it's gonna get black.
Oh my god, what happened?
Ooh.
Is it still there? It's still there.
But y'all, I definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
There was this one little area. Well, there was. Okay, I guess
Let's
you
just go
can't-
through the areas, because like at this point, let's just go through the areas. Okay, sorry.
Why does it matter?
I just want to go through the areas.
I don't think we should tell them
We're
about.
bebopping around it.
But I was just
Why?
going to talk about because what if they go and then we ruin it?
We're not going to ruin it. I'm just going to tell them the areas.
Okay.
So you walk in and there's like, it's like a hospital theme. Then you go into like a doll theme. Then there's like, I don't remember exactly what was right after that.
I think I was like this most of the time. So
you
I don't
like went through a
remember this.
dollhouse.
They made me go first most of it.
Then there was something called Extinction, which was like an alien theme. Then there was something called Aquaphobia, where you
Now
literally
that was crazy.
You're
It
literally
was on
walking
the
on
pond.
bridges on the water, and like the bridge is like sinking into the water as you're walking. It's
Yeah.
kind of freaky. So it's like a water monster kind of theme.
And there was like a shark that like came out.
Yeah. Then there was a clown theme, a butcher kind of vibe, like a kind of a Leatherface type vibe theme. Then there was the Nature's Revenge. You walk through a couple of buses. That was kind of funny. Oh, the Descent. There's one where you're like going through caves, and y'all.
That's the scary one. That's what I was going to mention.
The effect.
I was the first one through
We shouldn't
this.
give that away though.
Okay,
It's
but y'all,
so good.
Well, I don't think it's really giving anything away because I think you're still going to be scared no matter what.
Oh,
as soon
absolutely.
As you see this. But it is like a dark tunnel.
It's a long, dark, kind of like what would you see like an underground like
a subway, but
or
without
like a sewage, like a
yeah,
kind of
like
a
a
sewer thing.
drain.
Like what you see in movies.
Yeah, and literally like up ahead,
Oh my god.
a light will flash, and then you can kind of see that somebody's up there. But then it goes dark, and you're like, I don't know. Do I move? Do I just keep going? But like you have to keep going. And then y'all, as you're going
The
through,
light comes
the
on.
light it just blinds you.
And he's like right
and
here.
he's right in your
running
face.
at you.
And then it is just
God, it was
the most
crazy.
terrifying. And then when you get to the end of it, you're like have to bend over because you're in like this weird like
Yeah.
you can't like stand straight up.
Now, y'all, I will say it is not for the physically challenged.
Brandon was yeah, I guess some parts you were acting like if you were like heavy set, you couldn't get through it.
I don't think. I know people who couldn't fit.
Now some of the floors would pure move.
Yeah, they were moving. The floors were moving. They were hot.
And
they were
it
like
would be, if you lose your balance easily, I will say you could
Yes.
easily fall.
And,
'Cause
I
there's
will
things,
say-
a spur of the moment, the floor would move and you'd be like, what the? Like,
yeah.
when
If
you
y'all have
don't
seen Hocus
expect it.
Pocus, you know in Hocus Pocus when they light the black flame candle and the floor starts moving and there's like a green light coming up. It was like that.
There was several times that it was like
There were like lights
unexpected.
coming
That's
from.
like,
Yeah.
okay, like if somebody did like have bad balance, they would
Yeah.
easily fall, and
Yes.
this is kind of crazy. I guess
Or
you're
if you
right.
couldn't bend over, there were a lot of times where you had to bend over.
A
Like
little
walking
bit.
through into the buses, walking through the buses, you had to kind of crouch.
I mean, I think that was just because that guy was standing over us. You had to go through his legs. I think I went through his legs. I don't remember.
What are you talking about going through somebody's legs?
That guy that was just standing there scaring you. I like ran through his legs real quick.
I don't remember that.
I don't know. It was fun though.
It was so fun.
It was the best haunted Halloween
We did it with our friends
thing
Gary and
that I've
Brad.
ever
They came
done.
from Charlotte and we went. And it was so good. I mean,
It's definitely going to be like a yearly thing
Yes.
for me.
and I hope they change it up. I think maybe they do because like there's
I think
two,
maybe a couple rooms they change up.
Like there's two that were new this year, which like
I will say though, if you do it, I don't know that you have to do the VIP, but maybe do the fast pass.
at least the fast pass.
Especially as we get closer to like
Yeah.
Halloween, because it wasn't too crowded when we were there.
But also like you wait for a line to go in, but then when you're in, there's kind of like breaks between some of them, and you get in line again. And that was when it was nice
have like a breather.
to be able to just keep, but no, to be able to like have a little breather, but also like keep going, like where you didn't have to wait for a long time.
Yeah.
That
wasn't
nice.
just the VIP. That was anybody would have been in that line too.
No, there was one other time when we went in VIP and not the normal line,
Oh.
like in the middle of it.
Okay.
It was at the Aquaphobia.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, there was a long line,
You
and
are
we
right,
just went right
actually.
in.
I forgot
yeah.
about that. Oh, yes,
Yeah.
maybe VIP or yeah.
Yeah, but then like waiting to go into the alien one, remember it was just, one line. Yeah, and it was one line before there was
Oh,
another
yeah, I
one.
wonder why those didn't have two lines.
I don't know. Oh, I forgot about there was a pirate theme.
There was pirate.
And there was like a voodoo theme.
Yeah. It was fun.
The pirate one was
Anyways,
very forgettable.
well, obviously.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun, and I think y'all are up to date with our
Yeah.
life.
So thank you. You're welcome for the recap.
Yeah, now we are
Going to bed.
in present day, and I got to deal with some real estate stuff at 9:30 at night. I mean, I assumed by the way she talked, she was letting me know tonight, right?
Sounded like it to me. Maybe you should just message her and be like, "Hey, any update?"
Anyways, thank y'all for listening and watching. I will be posting those other videos here soon, just of maybe a little quick video of Otto's birthday party. Honestly, I don't think I have much footage of it though, so I don't know.
Either.
I don't even know what I can really post. Maybe I can just put it in the video with the fair.
Yeah.
Just like throw it at the end or something. And yeah. Anything crazy in pop culture that not really, right?
Not really.
Yeah.
Not that I know of.
Mm-mm. Okay.
Okay.
Well, y'all, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And just remember.
When life gets crazy, just keep on chatting.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.